Welcome back to the next video in the series, which is top of the funnel landing pages. We're going to cover some of the basic concepts of landing pages and the elements that we talked about in the fundamentals of landing pages videos. We're going to put those to use here, and we're going to talk about why it's important and how you use this to iterate through multiple versions of your headlines, your calls to action, even your length of the page, etc. So here, we're once again we're going back to our example with the eBay drop shipping secrets, which is we're running a Facebook ad campaign offering this free ebook in exchange for their name and their email, and we're getting about a 60% conversion rate on it so far on this page right here. And this has come from multiple iterations over about a 2 to 3 week span. So certainly it takes time to just like in everything that you build, you're going to do. You have two things that's always going to be a constant variable, which is going to be time and iterations and changes. So those things are always on the table. And whenever we look at a landing page, especially at the top of the funnel, we're trying to do something very basic here. Our main goal for this is to build our email list and to use our retargeting ad campaigns to further people along the sales buying process of this actual course. Now, different businesses have different needs, such as an e-com business, that's selling a widget. How do they go about it? Are they going to try to build their list? Sure. Do promotionals. There's lots of ways to go about this, as well as, for an e-com business, they're going to go straight to the sale a lot of the times, which on Facebook, in my opinion, is probably not the best way. Facebook is really more of an information gathering type zone. Buyers or people that become our buyers don't start out with intent necessarily to buy your product. It's one of those things they discover, and then they are nurtured through the sales process to become an informed buyer and a happy buyer. And when we're selling our awesome product or service, we've got to convey that to the user. And it starts out initially by finding out who that potential buyer is, so that we can, use our list building on the email side as well as our retargeting campaigns to make them a buyer over time. And for example, with this product, I want to say the average turnaround time for someone becoming a buyer of the course is somewhere around, around 8 days, 10 days, something like that. So it's not long at all. It's pretty short. But then again, it has to go back to a couple things. One, once the person discovers our landing page or top of the funnel landing page right here, we're able to use our email campaigns and other informative articles and landing pages to get them to do a couple things. One, once they've already provided us with their list information, we want them to, for this campaign, to further their knowledge base by joining the Facebook group, joining webinars. We're using a lot of different tools, in the middle and the bottom of the funnel to drive conversions. But for the top of the funnel, paying attention to what's important here is we're simply trying to convert people. And let's look at another example. For this campaign, again, this is for another course. We're targeting people who we're targeting people by interest and by purchase behaviors, a lot of different ways. But we're targeting people that own businesses, small businesses, mid-30s, early 40s, that are looking to, how do they take what they have now and grow it and scale it? So for this, we've been running, I want to say we're getting a 35-40% conversion right now on this. We've got some, obviously it's still new, so we don't know, but for this page right now, we're using a kind of a long form on the front end, and The conversions are not bad. I mean, certainly, if you get below 30%, there's a lot of cause for concern. There's a lot of room for improvement, but there's always room for improvement in everything that we do. So with this landing page, we're actually, I've requested for them to take the top part of this and make it a full landing page, kind of like what we saw here. So the idea behind this is, and why I like, this landing page right here, this is used on, this is a ClickFunnels product, so there's a template for it, very easy to use. If you're not, writing code yourself or perhaps in-house, certainly for this project, this is being custom written, or this is all custom HTML design on the back end. But what we're looking to do is this is great and all. It's converting, we're getting leads, but is it converting best? And the answer is always no, in my opinion. You can always do better, whether you're scraping a half a point out or, you're able to boost it in any way of any of the KPIs, which stands for Key Performance Indicators. For top-tiered campaigns, we're looking for a couple things. First, whenever we launch a campaign, we're looking through what is our conversion. Well, on the ad campaign side, we're looking for what is the click-through rate and what is the cost of that click, as well as once we start generating leads and data, we're then able to look at what is the cost, what is our CPA for that lead, and we're continuously trying to drive it down, both through iterating ads, audiences, and on our landing page side. So once you start out, you'll have probably a pretty, more likely a generic, really open type landing page where you really want to boil it down to make it very specific to someone's pain that they're having and how you're going to solve it with them getting this information. On this campaign, there's, I like this one because of its simplicity. You don't have a whole lot going on. You're not giving the user a lot of time to flip through and have, second, thoughts on using it or not. You're simply getting them to this page. You're giving them the same offer that we were giving them on the ad side. They know what they're getting, and they're going to come in here, and that's why this page is converting at 60%, whereas this one is converting at 35, 40, potentially. So what we've done, and what I recommended, and what I'm going to launch today on this campaign, is a boiled down version of it, where we're going to use a couple different iterations. One, we're going to try this new video. We're going to try a video in place of the static image that we had here. We're also going to run it with the static image, and we've also started changing up the top of the headlines here. So you can see financial independence and personal freedom are best achieved by growing your business from small to 8 figures. I'll show you how. That's our first headline in the current landing page that we have running. Whereas on one of the new versions that we're running with a video and a short form, and obviously this has to be finished coding to have this actually take up the whole page. So the developer is writing the CSS, and I believe that will be available in the next couple of hours. And when it is, we'll publish. For now, we're focused on is part of the element, which is the headline, which has been changed to Act Now, get the free book, the Freedom Mission, and then discover how to grow your business to a 10 million plus revenue and gain financial independence. So we're looking for people here. This is becoming very specific now. I mean, this is starting to evolve from, and it says financial independence and personal freedom. So this is targeting, more of the financial independence and personal freedom, people with that pain. Whereas this one, it still does that, but we're looking, we're using 10 million, we're looking to grow the business more importantly than just becoming financially independent. So it's more of an actionable thing. I think more people are going to be, that are interested in his services, that are going to be better leads, are going to be definitely people that have like a 1 million AR, which stands for annual revenue. Someone has a 1 million AR company and they're looking to go to 10, and so on and so forth. And so, by changing up the way that we say the headline, the way that we have our descriptive text in here, the sub-paragraph, I guess you can call it, whatever, or we can even use coding terms. Call this our H1 at the top, and our H2 here, and then our H3. So that makes it actually easier kind of to break it down that way. So you understand that H1 is header 1, H2 is header 2, and H3 is header 3. And header 1 obviously is the most important, is what's going to be read first. Whenever someone comes to our landing page, is going to make them either want to take or not take the action. So certainly taking this, changing up the headline, changing up the way, taking off the long form, or the long page, with all of this additional information on what you're going to learn. I mean, this is better to kind of get into what you're going to learn and what this is going to provide on like the thank you page. After someone has provided you the information, you can then hit them with a thank you. Here's what you can expect. Download now. I think that provides a lot more value than doing it here, because once again, you're giving someone the time to rethink their decision. We want to go ahead and get people that see our ad on the front end on Facebook, take the action by clicking through, so they know what they're coming to. They understand that the message is to them, and that they're getting an ebook here, or so they're going to come here. And most people are accustomed to providing their information, and such as their name and email, in order to get this information. So it's standard practice. Nothing is out of the ordinary. It's very easy to use. It's common practice. And the benefit of doing this and changing this up is it's going to give us actionable data. And once again, everything that we do with our converting, all of our leads is reading the data. And all we can do is take the elements of these campaigns, the elements of these landing pages, understand the different, how like this section, how we can consider this top header a section, and then this a subsection of that, and how we can then break up our pages. Because for example, when we get into middle or middle funnel, bottom funnel, we're going to be talking about sales pages, and those pages have certain structures that you want to use time and over again. And how you use them and which combinations all boils down to your testing and your audience telling you which they prefer. And without getting into those too much, let's don't get into them just yet, because I don't want to take away from what we're trying to do here. But simplicity is everything. And I'm willing to bet here that I can see an increase in our conversion rate, by at least 5 points. So taking it from a 35 to 40 to a 40 to 45, I think is solid. Certainly is doable. And it all boils down to data. Now I don't bet all my I don't bet all my chips on it, so to speak. But what I'm doing is I'm spreading it out. And when I do this, I'll have multiple iterations. For example, on this campaign, we've got 4 right now. 4 of these landing pages that are going to mix video with image here, and that's going to change out the way that we have our header and our H1 and H2 and H3 copy tags here on the page, and we'll iterate through this first. So we'll have 4 of them. So we'll see which of these are going to convert, and then the winner from that. It's kind of like letting, for example, it's like going to the racetrack. When you go to the racetrack, I guess professional dog bettors, horse, people who bet on horses, whatever races, they're looking at the data, and they're taking the variables of the horse performance and comparing them to how they're stacked towards other horses, where they're at, coming out of the gates, the track conditions, etc., to make a hopefully positive, expected ROI bet. Professional ones, I would say the ones that have been doing it for a while, that don't get the itch to gamble real hard, probably can do it very well within a reasonable, ROI of like 15, 20%, 12%, something like that. I would think is doable. So it's all based, if you're making, say you're making 10% returns, and you've got a total budget of, say, you'd have to have a pretty big budget, but say $500,000 is your total gambling portfolio, budget that you have. In that instance, 10% on that, you're making $50 a year on it. So it's not, you don't go after the long shots as more as you really want to go after a consistency, a systematic approach. And I'll take it from playing poker. I know this much. And poker really is a game of skill. It's a game of mathematics, and it's a very complicated game that the learning curve never ends. It just never does. Same thing with digital marketing. Never ends. I mean, you're always going to learn and always apply something new, and you should. But the idea is to get behind a way that that you can approach the same problem, and whether you're building funnels in this case, you can approach the top of the funnel, and you can approach it with saying, hey, I know what I have to do here. I need to, let's try a short page versus a long page. I need to gather, my header, my H1, my H2, my H3s for copy. And, if I'm going to do a long page, I need to write more copy like down here. So once you have that in place, then you're looking to wordsmith that copy. And that's where you start iterating. That's where you start split testing. And that's where you start looking for ways to do things better. And I'm going to tell you now, every company out there, especially the big companies that spend a lot of money. I mean, and there's some Fortune 500 companies out there that spent $250,000 on the landing page. And the reason why they've spent that kind of money is because they've had to hire someone to come in and do a lot of testing. And not only just do a lot of testing with different headlines, different images, different colors, different calls to action. I mean, should this be a yellow where it's drowned out with this, kind of off yellow, brown, banner ad right here? Or I just call it banner ad. It should, maybe it should be red, but which color of red? And the choices are endless, and the testing is endless. You will never, you really, in my opinion, you don't get to a place where you're ever like, hey, I'm really happy with this. I'm never going to change it again. But for example, in this one, we have gotten to a place where I can say, hey, 60% conversion. It's been running at that for over 2 weeks now, with an increasing ad budget. I'm happy with it. It's solid. And there's no reason to really focus my time, my resources on making this better right now when I can focus on making things later in the funnel better, or maybe going after. The possibilities of conversions are endless. So you have to pick your battles, so to speak. But first and foremost, you have to build a page that's going to convert first on the top of the funnel. And once again, it goes back to don't get bogged down in trying to build the perfect page to go out to market with. Build one that's basic, get it out there, see how the message is received, and work from that. Use the data. And once again, we'll get into how to use the data to do this. But for now, understand that a landing page at the top of a funnel is trying to achieve one thing and one thing only. And you don't want to have multiple messages. That's where a lot of people can mess up here. This page has the same thing. It's trying to get the same information, same calls to action, both here at the top and the bottom, so there's no confusion. Where people can get really messed up is when they use paid traffic to send to their homepage. And a homepage is going to have 5, 6, 7, 8, 100 different things someone can do. It's like a smorgasbord of what our company's made up of, what we can offer. So there's tons of things on it. It's way too many things. You're giving way too many options. When you build a sales funnel or a landing page, you want to give someone one option only, do it or be done. I don't care. The bottom line is I'm looking for more people that do it, and I'm honing in on those people. And in order to do so, I have to understand how I can build that trust and how I can get their information the quickest up here at the top. And by iterating through these different, elements, making it more simple, changing up the way our headlines are written up here. And then obviously we've got the red for the buttons. This was already implemented from what I was looking at. So to recap, we want to be able to take a landing page, and we want to look at it from a perspective of how do we start, how do we then improve? And improving is all about changing elements one at a time and seeing which your audience responds to best. Really, for the homework of this section, let's look at let's write some headlines for our landing pages. think of things that people are going to be interested in, pain points that are specific to your audience, and let's take those. And I want you to write out multiple ways of saying, this headline. Write like an H1, H2, and H3, and that's it. Act now. Get your free book, The Freedom Mission, or you can say something even more simple, such as free guide, eBay dropshipping secrets, and then roll into what it is the person is going to get. A free video guide on how I sell over $6,000 everyday dropshipping products on eBay. So you want to take, hey, I've got a secret, I've got a plan, I've got a strategy that you can follow, something, and let's take that and let's look at ways that your business can offer that, and then put that into action and write it out and think about ways that you can say it, and then you don't have to be perfect, and then you want to take it and change up the way that you say it. And for example, on this, how would I take and change this? One second. Just we could say something like, we could even do free, all capital, guide, secrets to eBay drop shipping. Another iteration would be free guide, get my eBay drop shipping secrets, and so on and so forth. That's really, you're taking the top of the page and you're looking at how can you say the same thing over and over again by combining different ways of saying it. And you're doing that, let's take me right here. You're doing that by, you got your first, iteration here, and then we've changed up, the way the free is. And I did do this on this campaign, so, I know that this is the thing that's most preferred right now. And like I said, because my time is limited with working with clients, it's better to spend it on other areas when we're converting at a very rapid and solid rate. So take this idea, and then obviously you've got the second part of this, and you want to do the same thing. You want to have multiple ways of saying the same thing, and you might want to say how I sell over 6K every day. So you vary it. I mean, everything matters. Every way changes. I mean, we even wrote this. I mean, you could even take it, as far as in, this is probably something next that we'll do is I sell over $6,000, and we know the dollars is kind of there, right? Especially on our U.S. Side. I mean, our UK, Aussie, etc. is going to be different. We probably need to look at targeting the values to their currency. So what we're looking at here is just we want to get different ways of saying it, because when we build a landing page, everything, every element on here, even our enter your name and enter your best email address. This needs to be tested as well. I mean, enter your email address, or should it just be enter your email, or should it be enter your best email? That's what you want to look at. You want to look at it in terms of what it is that we want to look at it, and how can we make this better always, and how do we change it up? Everything that you can do here on this page by changing it up, like we've written here. So let me just type this out as an H1. I'll put tags on it because it makes it feel good. Let's see, this will be our H2 designator. Notice I'm capitalizing them here, and then HTML you would. This, and then this is going to be our form, and then let's do our CTA, which is right now access video. Now, you know, here's once again we can change up access the secrets. Do it with maybe an exclamation point. How do you do things? You know, the options are limitless, and this is the process that you go through. You're taking the same thing over and over again, just like we would do building our ads, just like we're going to do with building our email templates. What we think works best and what our audience thinks works best, two different things. And we don't care what we think works best. We only care with what our audience responds to. How do you measure that? Once again, it's going back and looking at the data. It's looking at which page works better than the other one. And the only way you can measure it is by once you've written out your first page, your first, say you take these, these two, along with, this on the form and this for the CTA like we have here in the original. You would then run it against a second landing page using your second H2 or H1, your second header 2. You're going to try different, combinations of your email, the forms, and really, I like to do things really one by one. It's better to do apple to apple comparison. So, whenever you go to change your landing pages, do it. I'm not going to say, well, I can't really say that. To begin, if you're beginning out, if you're starting out from scratch, you have nothing. You're basically taking a bunch of stuff and throwing it at the wall and seeing what sticks. So it's okay to make multiple combinations, but once you hit on one, once you have a landing page that outperforms the rest, you then want to make changes, one by one, apples to apples. What that means is you would then, once you find a winning one, you then run a campaign where you only change up the H1 tag to these two, and you're keeping this the same. You're keeping the form the same, and you're keeping the CDA the same, call to action. Okay? And what you're doing here is you're looking for a better way to say things, and you're just going to iterate through changing out each one of these elements with it. And by doing that, by having a starting point and then saying, hey, okay, I'm gonna make a change on my H2s here. So instead of saying free video guide on how to sell over $6,000, I'm gonna take out the dollars here and just have it say free video guide on how to sell over $6,000 every day. And obviously when you're reading it out, you see the dollar sign, so more people are gonna say $6,000 here, so you don't have to have it necessarily here, right? Everyday dropshipping your products on eBay. I would take this and make this the only change on this page because I know this page is working well. I mean, I've already got it tuned. I've already got this page working well. It's converting. So if I'm going to try something better, I'm going to make small changes like that. I'm going to see how the audience responds, and then I'm going to take it and I'm going to run with the winner and just keep doing it over and over and over again. And the pace that you can do it at really depends on how much traffic you're driving per day. So if you're driving, 100 people to your site a day, you can make changes pretty much every 24 hours. If you're driving less traffic than that, it may take 48 to 72 to 96 hours. It's all about getting a lot of, the more data, obviously, the better. And there's no limit on how much data you can get on a page. But as far as our minimum thresholds, we've got to have at least a pretty decent small sample size to make a judgment call. Now, obviously, if you're running two comparisons and you see you've got one performing at say 45%, another at 10, and it's they're close to the amount of same impressions and click-through rates and etc. that the click-through rate that you're going to have, how many clicks that have come to this page. If over 100, I'd say you could probably start looking at making some calls. Obviously, if they're running and the data is skewed that greatly, then obviously there's something that's not working there. But usually when you're going in, you're tuning one thing at a time, one little element at a time. you're not going to see that much of a variance, and you shouldn't. They should be pretty much similar. Now, I have seen a pretty large increase in conversion traffic simply by changing the headline here. And for this campaign, the increase in changing these two elements right here, the H2 and the H1, took it from an 18% conversion low ratio, which we'll get into, we kind of talked about in the fundamentals video, but we took it, we iterated through these right here and brought it up to about 60 right now, which is solid. But really there's no other secret other than it's all about taking, understanding that this page represents, just an element. Or this page represents several elements within it, right? There's several things that we have to use, we have to look at individually that combine together to make a winning or losing page. Let's leave it here for this course on this right now. I think that pretty much covers everything that we need to look at for building, and changing out the way that we're going to iterate through it. Obviously, we'll put this into action. But for now, the homework on this, focus on writing out these examples. Use my same method that I did here. Write H1, your H2s, your form, your call to action, and then if you want to put in more information, go right ahead. This right here is going to be how we're going to take and put different. How we're going to change up our copy and keep record of it on the landing page side, and how we're going to be able to find a way to say our message better to our audience. So start working on that. This is something that takes time to do, but it's good to practice, because really everything that we do on cold conversion hacking is iterating on the way that we say something. Because you can take the same statement and say it multiple ways, or say it with different ways of saying it, and it just comes out different. So let's focus on that. Do the homework on this, and if you need to, go ahead and watch this video again.